yourself.
Yeah, Mangle, please do deafen yourself so that you can't hear our commentary. I don't think Mangle needs our help, by the way. But yeah, we have two extremely competent players coming into this matchup, guys. We are ready, set, and go. Let's get started with this tournament, the group stage. Game number 1, guys. Mangle versus Adelbart. Who isn't hyped for this one?
Man, this is going to be remarkable. We've seen Adelbart here, one of two absolutely remarkable dark horses coming into this tournament. Him and Sbrh, the most powerful unknowns coming in here against Mangle. I'd say one of the fan favourites to take over the Discord, boys. Very, very, very strong player. So active in all of the view games we have over here on this channel during regular streams. So coming in here with this flagellant comp from the Mangled up against that Darkest Mark comp. I think the proliferation of both that heavy DOT damage and the Antiquarian Houndmaster to back that up might actually make it mean Mangled here. If he plays defensively, plays more controller into the game, can probably come out with a victory very late in the game.
Yeah. Who do you think takes the series, by the way? Says, who do you think takes the series?
Mangled.
Okay, I'll go with Adelbart here. I feel he has the number of Mangled. He has the compositions that will deal with Mangle has quite well. Okay, never mind. We have a first dodge here, so a 10 wasted effectively for Adelbart. He does actually begin with those shackles, the manacles dropping on the Houndmaster. He does have quite decent amount of dodge going second on the very first turn of this match. Right, so what do you think Adelbart's win condition for this matchup is right now?
Well, I'd have to say you try and take down that Houndmaster, but it's going to be very difficult to actually fully mark him if you pull him in, especially because that dodge is on now, 62 with the guard dog stacked. Even if he lands that comp hither, pull him into first there, even though he's marked, can't be shot by the Arbalest. The Arbalest here, apart from the Abomination, he's chosen not to transfer him to get the early damage out. It's really the only character he has that can apply heavy pressure. The Crusader is purely for utility. The Abomination, he tried to use his utility there, didn't quite pay off for him. So I think really he just needs to kill someone ASAP, be it the Antiquarian or the Houndmaster.
Yeah, another problem I feel is that Adelbart's composition, I have played this one a lot, so I can tell you right away, this one doesn't do well against heavy dodge, and probably we'll see quite a lot of dodge from Mangle here, right? We have the Houndmaster already spamming that dodge. We will probably see a bolster as well, which is quite uncommon normally against a damage dealing composition, which obviously here not exactly the case, because he's just trying to get those additional dodges. All those characters by Adelbart have rather low accuracy coming into this game, so it might be fairly difficult for him to handle this match.
No way to buff it either. No way to buff it. Really powerful. The more Mangled here stacks up this dodge, the more Adelbart will be pushed out of the game. He has no way to counter himself. Although he does have reasonably high base accuracy abilities, especially on the Arbalest and the Bounty Hunter, will not be enough to reliably even get a 50-50 hit on this Houndmaster.
Oh, Adelbart passes. What happened? Maybe did he DC or something? That's kind of weird.
Maybe.
Was he thinking so long? Because we can see his curse, right? We just saw his cursor fly by the screen, fly across the screen. So is it just nerves?
That was Mangle's cadavers, I believe, right? What we saw Adelbart do is, did he pick a character? I believe he did.
Yeah, he did, but he just didn't actually use that character in the end. That's very unfortunate. He picks right now.
We saw Adelbart last time, didn't we? Skip one of his first turns. He won that series.
Is it nerves? Do you think he's just taking too much time? Just checking the messages whether, perhaps one of those guys is messaging me that something went wrong, but no, not really. And this is a very serious tempo disadvantage for Adelbart here, because he did have the mark available to himself, which would have potentially marked the MAA here and, opened up for way more damage coming through. Right now, this is not the case at all. This Arbalest doesn't quite do enough damage for turn 1 to be too effective. So I'm not really sure if Adelbart was really planning for this. I mean, you just had to feel he waited too long, or perhaps he had some...
He had 2 passes that time, right, because he completely missed the stun.
Yeah. It's very unfortunate. He basically missed 2 moves on the first turn of this very important fight number 1, guys. Obviously, remember, this is no longer single elimination. Every single player will get to play 3 matches, 3 best of 3s basically, to define their standing in the ladder. So this basically means that Adelbart, even if he loses this game here, not in the most dire of spots. However, you have to remember that in the end, if we do have any tiebreakers, every single loss will matter for you so much, because this might be the difference of you making it out of the group and getting the physical rewards, or just being completely removed from the tournament. And then you obviously also lose the ability to contest this final spot, the championship in the Butchers League Season 1.
It's really, really brutal here for Adelbart. We did see him pass and go on to win the series earlier on. Maybe this is just what he does. Maybe he likes to PM a little bit, but against such a cutthroat opponent, Mangle can have it here. Edgy name, edges the game. He's coming for it, and I reckon, he's got the tools with this comp to win. He's got the tools in his own head to win. I think Adelbart really BM'd the wrong guy.
Yeah, we see a bleed being resisted, however, by this BH, which is very fortunate. A slightly less pressure coming through from Mangle. Obviously, very fortunate for Adelbart here because he really needs every single advantage he can get right now after this very unfortunate 10 number 1. A stun comes through, which might indeed mean the end of this MAA quite soon into the game. Obviously, you have another guard available by the Houndmaster. He might just do it right now. He goes for damage though. A crit lands across the board as well, which means a lot of stress coming onto this BH especially, and some bleed stacks on top of everything. So this might be 8 damage already on this Arbalest here. Sniper shot comes down, it's a crit for 36, and this has to be the moment in which Mangle actually starts cursing himself out, because he has no way of saving this MAA right now. Absolutely no way. This MAA is just dead to rights. The turn order wasn't too great here. If he rejuvenated earlier, he could have took the man-at-arms. I mean, you need to understand he's probably in quite dire straits the second he gets marked. Although the Man-at-Arms is such a strong character against most teams because of his prep. There we go. That's killing so early on. That's very brutal, so honestly. Mangle definitely underestimating his opponent, using the 10 order to his own disadvantage, I think.
He's playing so fast. Look at him play.
But losing this MAA is absolutely crucial for him. This is such a big loss for the man. I feel like this might be the decisive moment in the game, honestly. This MAA just going down so early into the game, not dropping any bellows, not forcing the Arbalest to use any of those flares so far. It is going to be very difficult for Mangle to take over this game right now.
I mean, it doesn't take that many attacks to kill anyone with this team that Adelbart's running. It's so explosive. Mangled here, not putting on a single rejuvenating vapors.
Yeah.
That's so risky. You're a dodge team. If you get hit, you're probably going to die. Even if it doesn't crit, we've seen non-crit Arbalest hits for 30.
Right. I would really like to see this Houndmaster guarding the MAA perhaps instead of going all in there. Obviously, Tiller provides you with the ability to penetrate through guard, but still, this might have been a dodge then. Or it gives you perhaps another coin flip on Death Stall, right? Oh, absolutely. It forces the BH to use the Caltrops, which means then you get a 50-50 rather than a 100% dead character. He just doesn't do this, and right now he's going to pay really high price for this. Looks like double stun. This is nothing good for a composition that consists of 3 characters only right now. Dire strays from Mangle here.
Absolutely. I mean, how do you throw away a game where your opponent passes twice in the first turn?
Yeah.
Mangled playing so fast, I think really here, already in his head, consider this a done game just by that point. Really underestimating Adelbart here. One of these dark horses again. And man, I think, based on this performance, just in this game alone, if Adelbart can overcome that deficit, it looks like Mangled might really need to push hard in these next games to avoid getting tie breaks out.
Right, especially you have to remember that Adelbart did miss out on a 10 and did miss those chains in the very first turn. So this basically comes down to the fact that Adelbart, despite having this very significant disadvantage, guys, missing a single 10 is big. Like losing out on 2, absolutely crucial.
And on turn 1 as well.
Yeah.
So much more punishing on turn 1.
Which is the opener, right, which basically allows you to start your strategies, get those marks down, start executing your plan. You miss out on 2 crucial moves. This is so much trouble. Adelbart able to claw his way back into this game right now. You have to feel those rejuvenating vapors. Too little too late. Right, again, this is just so little.
It's not so early that it helps cover the incidental damage on the Houndmaster and Flashland, but it is late to the point where he might be able to put some dodge there again.
Yeah.
You know, wouldn't have broken through. Maybe he would have taken 1 hit at Death Stall anyway. You would have wanted to use those either later or sooner than that. But right now, in the kind of hinterlands where you really do not want to be using ability like that, especially when your antiquarian at the back is at full health.
Right. I mean, you have to feel that Mangle still has a chance in this game because he's forced to play passive, heal a little bit. Perhaps not the right decision here as well. He's taking a lot of DOTs, and this Houndmaster extremely Dodgy. Again,
Look at that.
dodge number 4.
47 dodging, only 47 dodge.
Right, I mean, that's not too little considering, you know, Adelbart does not really have a Jester on his own, so...
It's lucky for the triple, though, right? This
Yeah.
Helmars, we've seen him dodge, 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 triple
Right.
stun there.
I just have to kind of play knowing that this might happen, right? That's just how it goes against the side dodge compositions, especially if you pick a comp like Adelbart did here. The Darkest Mark, not the most accurate comp in the world. It will miss a lot, you just have to account for that somehow. Obviously very unfortunate right now for Adelbart, because he's taking a lot of damage, right? And this might, despite this fortunate kill on the MAA 10-2, still not be a solved or decided game. You have to feel like Mangle might even be holding an advantage right now. Look at this, Absolution comes down. This is not helping you, man. If you play slow into what Mangle has right now, it's just going to demolish you, absolutely demolish you. Look at this, he has so much regeneration right now. He has so many DOTs stacked across the board. You can't outpace this. You have to take the momentum, you have to take the game to your opponent, you have to take over those stuns, risk a little bit, just win the game before it's too late, because right now we are getting into too late territory, I feel.
How often do we see these Mark comps, and this comp here not even with a Jester, so it's not like he's wasted a Finale and now can't get a second kill. He's just a little bit too scared to get the second kill there. There are so many things he could have done with that Abomination, transform him, push someone back, and then maybe guard break the Antiquarian.
Absolutely, yes, here's the net. He can push the Flagellant anywhere he wants, really. This is, by the way, no snap on the Flagellant, so it's so easy to displace this character.
40% stun resist, 40% movement resist, 55 stun rather.
Yeah, but 20% when you take into account the Rage net that Abomination is holding right now.
Absolutely, the Rotarius' net there. Really odd pick. Really odd pick.
No,
I've not seen too many on him.
Okay, I used to run this because it was very comfortable against like all those lepers, right? I really enjoyed moving the lepers back to Brazil. However, you can see Adelbart capitalize with the stun, with very solid rotation of abilities, and he does indeed get this Flagellant down in the end. But this is so much damage coming through though. Mangle here, really hesitating as to which turn to pick right now. He goes for the Houndmaster here. He might just get a kill here, which he does not. Kind of unfortunate for him, obviously. Losing this MAE so early, man. This is such an unfortunate turn of events for Mangle here.
I mean, Mangle here perhaps still has a chance with this Antiquarian clutch, untouched here at the back. Still has a couple uses, I believe, of her defensive stealth ability. Will get countered by the Arbalest here. But again, we are seeing no horror stacked up on Adelbart's team. So really, if he's using these turns defensively from Mangle here, not much is being done apart from these very small right now bleeds and blights ticking down. Something that you can easily out-heal with a Battlefield Bandage and also clear these bleeds. No real way to reapply major bleeds either. Only the Houndmaster here. Only be doing, I believe, 2x3, which really isn't enough to threaten the Crusader here. Unless we get to somewhere like turn 12-ish. Do you think we can manage that? I'm not so sure we can.
I don't know.
We have a Bounty Hunter who can pull in the Antiquarian as well.
Yeah, you really don't see dodge on come hither too often, do you? Because it's a very high accuracy skill. So getting this one missed, to miss actually is very fortunate as well for Mangle. He has been dodging a lot in this game. You know, granted he has 40 dodge on the Antiquarian, he has about 47, 48 on the Houndmaster. That's almost something you'd expect to happen. But it is quite uncommon to get this many dodges, even if you play this somewhat heavy dodge composition here.
Adelbart here overcame so many missed turns, so many past turns here. I really hope Sticky Bladder is taking great note of this. Because I've got to imagine here that Adelbart perhaps played half as many character turns as Mangle did. Still able to take it home now in such an impressive and dominant fashion.
Yeah, crucially here we see a lot of healing coming through. That's a Deblo on 75% Deblo resistant Abel.
That might actually be enough to really turn the tables here. Mangle has still got a great chance to win it now.
Yeah, Adelbart, I feel like he was taking the risk right now. This is the risk he should have taken long time ago, and then it might have paid off. Right now he tried to heal too much, not do enough damage, and resulting in that we have a kill on the Abomination of Adelbart and the very first shot that Mangle takes. And right now it's a 3v2 with a heavily hit Adelbart's composition here. They're like on 10-20% HP tops here.
Oh, and again! That is very unlucky. That Bounty Hunter, I believe, come hither at 110 or 120% base accuracy.
Yeah.
Still reasonably likely to hit that, to get these many dodges in a row from Mangle. Very lucky. Yeah,
absolutely. Also, Nom, thank you for the follow, my man. Coming back into the game here, this Crusader, I'm not really sure what he wants to do with that. Does he go for a healing here? Does he go for a stun? Because Adelbart, it felt like he was gonna win this game, honestly, like with the very first skill, and you know, this flagellant going down somewhat effortlessly for him.
Do this right. Thankfully, you are healing both of them out of death's door there,
Yeah.
so that's really good turn economy. Even though it will be traded 1-for-1 with that Houndmaster's Harry, maybe the Bounty Hunter can survive another turn without being put down.
Right. He really does need to stun the Houndmaster though right now. This is kind of the problem, right? Losing one character, losing that A-Bone so early means he no longer has access to 2 stuns. He can only stun one opponent. It's another death blow on Adelbart's Arbalest, yeah. So
Adelbart, his tempo and his kind of gear changes have been so odd. He's went as fast as he can in some points and then slow back at other points, and really, with the amount of turns he passed to the start, the amount of dodges he's had, some would say almost impossible for Adelbart to really have won that game when Mangle is getting so lucky even now.
So late for those caltrops, though. Imagine dropping them 10-1 right now. Everybody would have had 16 HP less than they do right now. And this just means that perhaps this Houndmaster would have been dead. And this, obviously, by the way, he missed the 10 #1 on this BH. He could have just done the caltrops there. And this game would have looked entirely in a different manner right now, because those characters would be way more hurt, and this would be way easier for Adelbart to control the pace of the game. Right now, though,
it's also too late, Mike. He's not really got a chance to score a death kill now, a death blow rather now with it, does he?
No, there is no way he can actually get anybody to die. I feel like this is just, especially that he keeps slowing down for some reason. He should really be risking this. Just go berserk next turn, try to get rid of this Houndmaster as soon as humanly possible, and go from there. Right now, however, this Houndmaster is not gonna get any less dangerous, man. Like, he's going to just accrue those huge stress debuffs. He's going to get you bleed and hurt so much. And obviously you can stun him as much as you might want, but right now it doesn't quite seem that this is gonna be enough.
I would not have minded a guard dog there. I'm not entirely sure that bleed or blight damage on the Crusader would have put him down. A guard dog there would have put you into the 70 dodge range. Then, I think you take that chance every time that you've got the Antiquarian, can throw out the Festering Vapors instead.
Right, I mean, Adelbart is probably going to be forced to heal again, right? That's another thing you really have to take into account right now. And Adelbart can no longer play this in the efficient manner where he picks the BH first. This is a resisted stun, by the way, very unfortunate for Adelbart. But you can no longer pick the BH first, because then you just lose the BH, who is like at 45% death blow resistance right now, to this Antiquarian. So we see a safe play from Mangle. You have to feel this is the right decision to make as well. You just play it safe and slow at this point. You don't want to lose any characters. And this basically outpaces the stun as well. I mean, outpaces, sorry, the bleed of those caltrops here. And again, another dodge. This man is getting every single dodge you can get. Seriously, 40 dodge, not that much. Right now, he feels like 100 dodge at the very least. So
you
kind of
taking into account the minus 10 accuracy from being a Death's Door as well, but still remarkable.
Yeah. So Mangle is indeed getting somewhat lucky in this game, you have to feel like. At the very start, not so much, but right now in this ending, in those end game turns of this matchup here, looks quite brutal in terms of luck for Adelbart. Another dodge, can you believe this, man? Obviously 0 HP, quite high accuracy debuff, followed up by a lot of the, you know, debuffs coming from the Affliction as well. So there's a lot that Adelbart has to be working with right now. However, you have to feel this is all but over right now.
Absolutely. I mean, some of us said it was over on the first turn with those 2 passes. But realistically, we've seen Adelbart, and come on, that's insult to increase.
No way.
What's going on here, bro?
Yeah, that's kind of insane, isn't it? I mean,
he was only at 37 there as well. He was only at 37 there.
Yeah. I mean, he has a lot of dodge debuffs. I mean, accuracy debuffs on this Crusader. You have to kind of take this into consideration. Also, no route of execution, right? So there is quite a decent loss of an advantage there in terms of the ability to hit those high dodge targets there. So you have to feel that those dodges in the end were somewhat fortunate, but honestly, Mangle handled the end of the game quite well. So guys,
the end of it, indeed, but he did throw the early game away there.
Yeah,
with the
he did.
Kill.
But he did make a comeback after all, so we can actually remove the composition called Septic Shock from Mangle, since it won a match. Is no longer going to be available in this particular series. So we'll just go into the score that we have in this game right now. So let me just go there quickly, and we'll change the statistics a little bit.
I think looking at this at face value, Adelbart here, I'd say is still 50-50 on it to take the game from Mangle there. The comps remaining for Adelbart really quite strong, and we're going to be pulling them into comps with the likes of Occultist on, with the likes of weaker, perhaps non-meta characters, and Adelbart's heavy mark team there can really burst it down. But again, this is all predilected on the matter of whether or not he can correctly guess what team Mangled will be playing next.
Absolutely. So I feel the players are already going to the game, so let's just jump into it. So game number 2, guys. I'm just gonna very quickly adjust the score here. Mangle 1-0 in the lead, a single win away from taking over the series right here, right now.
We said before that going for this reverse sweep, it's unlikely to happen. But Adelbart here got very unlucky that game, passed twice very, very early on. So really, I think he still has every opportunity to show us all why this team is so impactful. And here we see very interesting. You see him swap that Abomination's position there, might put him in third. Very, very great.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is kind of an issue though for him, isn't it? Because this Occultist can right now pull the Arbalest forward, effectively placing this Abomination in 4th, and there is no easy way to get out of this position as well, because the pull moves you two slots forward, right? So this Anticoran would have landed in 2nd. Kind of unfortunate.
Oh, that's a very lucky stun resist there, but
right.
She is the Arbalest sitting on 80% move resist with the exotic stuff.
Yeah, so Mangle gets a taste of his own poison there, so right now, apparently this dodge has turned around a little bit. This negated stun means that, you know, the damage that comes down, not that significant. It is indeed all about that stun that you just don't land, and this means Adelbart does hold a significant advantage coming into this turn number 1. So this opening not going too hot for Mangle, you have to feel.
Do you think Mangled bites the bullet and tries to risk pulling in the Arbalest here? I think if he was going to do that, he would have done it before the... would have done that right off the bat, yeah?
Yeah,
so
I'm not really sure. Actually, there is Snap on this Arbalest, so that's not such a safe pull at all. It might not be the best idea to just waste a 10, so maybe he just goes for the Abyss Artillery, right? This might be the case.
I don't believe he's running Abyss Artillery, Mike. It's a very, very interesting skill setup on this cultist here.
Right, so we'll just say.
He's more powerful in rank 2 though here. All of these abilities able to use from rank 2. The only one not able to use from rank 1 is the push there. The Stygian Embrace, the heal, and the mark, all still useful and potent abilities in rank 1. But you don't want to be using this Stygian Embrace too much unless you really are pushing down the stress route here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I just have to feel that this misplaced or displaced Crusader really going to hurt Adelbart. Sorry, is going really to hurt Mangle here, because this means that he can no longer use the Zealous Accusation, he can no longer stun, and honestly, Mangle doesn't quite care about the damage you have to feel, right? So he's mostly about those huge spikes of stress, which he no longer is able to inflict, and also he loses a lot of control because this BA just reigns supreme and goes into a rampage here. I feel this might be just a killing blow on this Occultist very early on. This is why the Occultists aren't exactly considered to be the strongest characters in the game right now, simply because they're so squishy, so easy to take down. And obviously, like, if you lose this Occultist so early into this match again, I don't feel this is going to be a very similar game to one that we saw when the MAA just dropped down, right? Because this right now means there is no bolster. The dodge across the board for Mangle not so high anymore. It just feels very, very annoying to play against Adelbart right now, because you just don't seem to have too many options, too many avenues back into this. We are seriously behind in tempo after that missed stun on turn 1, and absolutely Adelbart is going to take over this one. You can see a stun come down as well. There is no way to remove those stuns right now. This Occultist is basically going to pray right now that this Arbalest doesn't just drop enough damage on his back. Because honestly, I feel like this is just going to be a sniper shot into a swift execution. Also, this Crusader can still drop some sort of an ability, maybe on the front line of Mangle, honestly, just dropping the Zealous here, or just getting a lot of control of a stun on the Flagellant might also be the way to go for Adelbart here. So he has a plethora really of options here coming into this stand on the Crusader. You have to feel he's just going to stun someone. This is a stun on the Occultist. Might have been played slightly differently. You could have waited for the Arbalest to do the damage to the Occultist just to see what exactly he's working with right now. This though, however, guarantees that this occultist goes down, right? There is nothing stopping the characters of Adelbart from, from delivering swift death onto the occultist here. We can see the darts coming down on the BH here. You have to feel, again, not that impactful, honestly, because there isn't that much damage on the Adelbart's composition. He has been also able to control this match extremely well. So Adelbart here goes for a sniper shot, you have to believe, and takes down the occultist very, very quickly here, following up with the BH's finish him ability. There is no recourse for Mangle here. He has no ways of preventing this from happening, so it's just going to be a very, very dead occultist on 10 number 2. Very nicely executed.
Rap God Mike there, Rap God Mike taking it almost all the way to the end of the game, I believe. Not sure if Mangled is going to have the tools to really take this home, even though he has the flagellant there. Very, very strong sustained character. There's lots and lots of damage, especially with the Hemlock on there. Got higher accuracy with the crown there, the Crown of Thorns. But again, this Crown of Thorns will be doing damage to him with the that 50% bleed chance. While it does push him into the range where he can exsanguinate, it also means that he's going to be dying a lot quicker. Against a team like Adelbart's, I think really you want to try and stay alive as long as possible. Because one hit from that Bounty Hunter on Death Store and you are gone. Does not matter if you have 80% death blow resist or 5% death blow resist, does it?
True. So let's just see how it pans out with Adelbart right now, because he has to go forward with this, right? He is bleeding out all his health right now, and if you give a flagellant an inch, he'll take a mile. So he goes for a stun hit. This might be a very quick kill setup over coming over from Adelbart, because this flagellant already used his turn, so he can no longer remove the stun. He's not going to be able to act.
Also, that Grave Robber, by the way, no lunge. No. A lunge would have been so impactful. Maybe one lunge crit to go alongside that Holy Lance you thought he would have had to use anyway, just to get that stun control. Really could have changed the entire tempo of this game. Could have potentially even killed one of Adelbart's characters, rather than having his occultist be knocked out so early onto this game.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree, but you have to feel this flagellant is probably going to die before he takes his turn at this point, because he is stunned at this moment here. He is not going to be able to act the next turn either, and this means that up until 10-5, he will not be able to use Exsanguinate. Obviously, you have to take into account the fact that this Crusader might still re-stun the character, so it is indeed looking quite dire. We can see a stunned and marked Grave Robber, by the way. This might be a secondary target, really, for Adelbart. He goes a sniper shot here, and this actually misses. So kind of fortunate for Mangle here, getting that miss come through. This means this Grave Robber is not entirely dead just yet. However, this stunned flagellant, as we said, until 10-5, unable to act. He might just still get stunned once more, because 100 stun resistance against a Crusader might prove not to be sufficient, right? There's like a decent chance that he just gets to restun this character once again. Okay, decent is an overstatement. Is it 15%? Might be just 15% there. Still a possibility, nothing unseen before, right? You can also just go for a lot of damage, so I feel like Adelbart could potentially just go for his Zealous Accusation here with the Crusader, follow up with a very smooth kill on one of those targets, because I just have to feel that one of those guys is just going to drop to 0 HP from a single accusation, and the Crusader is very unlikely to heal both. Also, Adelbart goes for the stun on the Crusader right now, which means that Mangle is just unable to act on any of those characters. One of those people is definitely going down this turn. I would just bet my ass on the Flagellant going down, though. I feel like this is the priority target. If you get a shot at killing the Flagellant, just go for it.
Absolutely. I mean, this Flagellant, the priority target number one, for the sheer fact that lots of his value is baked into these abilities that you can only use twice a battle for Exsanguinate and for Redeem, I believe, which heals an unbelievable amount of health. When it crits, that can full heal both of you back up, save you another turn or even two against this team. But here we're seeing the Grave Robber be focused down with the Arbalest, because obviously the Arbalest are unable to effectively target that position 1 Flagellant here. So it looks like the Grave Robber might be dying first. That, in a way, for Mangled is a lot better than the Flagellant dying first, just because of the fact that Flagellant Crusader, very, very powerful combo to have until last 2 people alive. The Crusader, yeah, and there she goes, there she blows. The Crusader able to stun and heal, the Flagellant able to heal and do so much pressure.
So what does Adelbart go here for? Like, does he just land the guaranteed damage, or does he go for this 15% stun as well?
I think he goes for the stun, Mike. I think he might as well be a little bit risky. What do you think?
I'll probably do the same, right? Because you might just lose the art. Okay, he actually goes for a heal. So I just can't agree with this. I would just expect him to go for the heal on the Arbalest at best, right? Because this Arbalest can remove the bleeding. This is your secondary healer. You might just as well lose this turn to a single Holy Lance, because 35% Deviler chance, nothing to scoff at. If you're Mangle, he gets it as well. It is a Crusader taking over the game. You have to feel this is a missed opportunity, because those bleeds, you can no longer successfully or effectively remove them, you just have to wait them out. And you cannot really wait out Flagellant's bleeds, can you?
Not at all. Adelbart here, though, still does have quite a strong control advantage in the fact that he has 2 characters that can stun. Mangle here only having 1, but the only real damage Adelbart has is a stun into finish him combo. If Mangled could have got the stun privilege there, tried to apply some stun pressure onto that Crusader, make it so the Bounty Hunter can't do a crit that takes you down from full health, he would have been a lot better off than he is now. I do not want to see heal there. I want to see him play very aggressively. I want to see him exsanguinate someone, really apply the pressure, force that Crusader to heal, because we've seen Adelbart healing an awful lot before. I'm not sure that was the right play.
Yeah, the problem for Adelbart, though, is that... I mean, no, the problem for Mangled was that if he had actually let this Crusader or the Flagellant not get healed this turn, either of them, he would have just lost one of those characters, because this Abomination still able to transform, do enormous amounts of damage there. And this Bo3 can take the Crusader to 0 HP, which in this case would have basically cost Mangle the game. And right now he does still stand a decent chance, a decent shot at winning this. Obviously the Flagellant still might get restunned once again. Adelbart actually concedes that opportunity here, you have to feel, right? So there might still be a stun coming down by the... I guess the Crusader is to go first right now. We have to just stun Mangle's Crusader back once again. Now you really, like, you can see this very passive play coming out. And you really cannot agree with this, can you, Sis?
I mean, we've seen him heal more often than not, so while we can't agree with it, I think it is to be expected, especially if you're Mangled Cadaver as well there. This is why I said we don't need to go for the heal there. We apply pressure. Adelbart will play defensively. This is another one of these things that you can do with your opponent. You can read how they play, and you can really exploit that. Mangled here, maybe not quite doing that well, but regardless of what's happening, Adelbart's proclivity for healing, playing more passively, is biting in here, because really this Flagellant Crusader, probably one of the strongest 2-men combos to be facing as the last man standing.
Yeah, you have to feel like Mangle with his back against the wall is an absolute monster. You put this man in a situation without a way out, he'll find that way out. He's just doing this right now in this particular game. He did it before. Feels like, again, this is no longer Adelbart's controlled game. This is a game that can be very well lost and won by both of those players. We can see this Afflicted BH, by the way, acting out a little bit. He might just die to a single death blow as well. We have seen this happen before. Obviously, as another miss, by the way, so it's kind of a curse for Adelbart here to feel, right? He has missed so many attacks in this series so far. It's just so brutal here. We don't see Devlo coming back though, so Adelbart still has some semblance of control coming into this turn. He might just land a stun of the... you have to feel this, like this might be a stun and a heal coming down. This basically prevents the characters of Adelbart from going down entirely. He can also just reactivate the BH right now, let those damage ticks just go down, which he obviously does. And this basically means right now for Adelbart he is safe to heal and do whatever he wants with those characters. This might be a very heavy blow again. Indeed, this Crusader does suffer quite a lot of damage.
But so, I mean, not that much damage really, looking at the amount he could have taken, especially due to the plus damage on finishing there.
Yeah.
I think Mangle hit 2 quite luckily low hits on the Crusader there. Both of them could have put him down to death still, would have been a really different story.
I mean, I would have really liked to see the Heart Seeker on the BH. It's such a potent item, quite recently discovered as a powerful option, right? People were not really considering this one a viable thing to use. Right now, however, we see more and more of those items being applied on the battlefield, and you just have to feel like this stun could have actually, again, turned this fight around. Right now, the entire control is passed over to Mangle once again. And it just doesn't feel too great, right? Obviously, Adelbart in control here heavily. He has a 0 HP Crusader on the opposite side of the battlefield here. Probably able to remove this Crusader from the fight quite soon. And still just healing here, I don't think this is reasonable. He should be just applying pressure, applying stuns, getting things done. Though obviously...
Well, not only did he pass the stun there, He could have got a death blow on the Crusader, really damaged to me. It was a double-edged sword that he could have taken.
But Mangle just gives up the Crusader though.
It does give him this stun advantage though, if only for the one turn. Maybe if you are that flagellum here from Mangle, you go, I've got to stand with it. Yeah, he's dead.
It's over. I feel this is over. Like, Adelbart managed to stay alive long enough to just take over the game entirely. I don't think there's a way for Adelbart to come back to lose this right now. Mangle is definitely going to take this loss right now. We'll see a 1-1 on the scoreboard, and potentially game number 3 is on the cards, which I'm very excited for because those games are the best. Like, those players once again absolutely delivering here. Although this game has been way RNG, way less RNG heavy than the previous matchup here. The previous one was heavily defined by those dodges. This one here, however, Adelbart just dominates. Maybe a bit too slow, maybe slower than you would like to see it, but still he just performs extremely well. And yeah, he just controls this game from the start to the end, right? He didn't miss a tent, he didn't miss a beat in this game, and he is absolutely taking over. So this slow play by Adelbart that we are criticizing actually pays dividends in the end. Maybe too safe, you have to feel, but you know, with your tournament life on the line here, maybe not yet, but still, like, you really don't want to lose a series 2-0, right? You just want to take a single game out and maybe, just maybe, get things down. So we can see a Rage coming down as well here. This Flagellant taking quite heavy beating here. This might be enough damage to just finish him from the get-go here. So a Stunning Blow comes through, and this is going to be Debbie H just finishing the Flagellant and taking us to game number 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Looks like Adelbart here might be one of the very few people actually able to perform a reverse sweep against none other than Mangled Cadaver. Such a powerful opponent.
Yeah, true.
One of the invited spots as well, right? We're seeing the first matchup of an invited spot versus one of these people who's came up through the qualifying stages, already proven their mettle.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And those were by no means games that, you know, Mangle had complete control of, right? The first game, not at all a stomp by Mangle, right? Whereas the second game was sort of a stomp by Adelbart, you have to feel. So, yeah, right, Adelbart just performing up to the expectations, right?
Almost a free win, right? Almost a free win for him, given on the those 2 passes at the start here. So Adelbart, in a game where he's actually able to use every turn, really taking it home.
True. So we see 1-1 right now in the head-to-head here. We shall see whether this changes in game number 3, which I feel the players might be just very soon ready for. What is your read on the compositions coming into this one?
I'm not sure really, it's anyone's guess. I would say right now, if you're Mangles, you just take something that feels the most comfortable for you. You play it slow, you try and really bite out the advantages Adelbart is presenting to you on a silver platter here. I mean, he's choosing to heal all the time. Very, very easy read to attack, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, we have to see a change of approach from Adelbart. He has to pivot into one of the stress compositions right now because his only damage league composition left was banned as well, just by the dint that it won the game right here. So we'll just see one of those heavy stress comps coming down as well. There is a Mangle comp on Adelbart's side. No, actually not really a Mangle comp per se, but a very very strong stress comp nonetheless. So you might just see this happen right now where Adelbart is forced out of his comfort zone perhaps, and we'll just see how he performs on those stress teams, facing one of the stress teams or at least a very heavy DOT team by Mangle here.
Just something to take note of as well, looking at the names of these teams, Adelbart coming in with Good Luck, Have Fun, Mangle coming in with Septic Shock, Sloppy Punishment, Gut Skin. Are these all things I'm meant to do with my girlfriend, Mike? What on earth is Mangle naming his comps after here, pal?
I mean, his full name is Mangled Cadaver. This might have something to do with that. So we're going into game number 3, guys. The deciding match between these two guys. Let's just see which of them is indeed able to take it home and who takes the first lead in Group 1. How do you feel about those compositions, Sis?
Boy, oh boy, this is a reasonably interesting matchup. I love to see an Occultist, love to see that Grave Robber again. Mangle Cadaver, he's had the one shot to take it home with this. Game theory would state, you know what, he might take it home now. Adelbart here, on the other hand, though, very, very, very powerful stress kind of AoE team here with the Bleed and Blight from the Antiquarian, the Houndmaster, and the Beast Bowl here. Really, really going to slowly rot Mangle Cadaver away.
True. I mean, you have to just feel that this is the very same situation we were in before as well. You know, considering this Abomination again, row 3, kind of easy to predict for Adelbart that she'll be playing against an Occultist, right? It's like 1 and 2. I feel like Mangle just picked this composition because he knew this was going to be a success to some extent. So seeing this pool right now, this forces a lot of momentum to shift into Mangle's favor, because right now you just have to fade away. So take cover with this Antiquarian just to set the Abomination back in place, right? So this is a slight momentum shift. I feel like Mangle just takes over the lead here coming into turn 1. Because, you know, you just waste a single character's turn effectively doing this. Because you do not really need to hide if you are Adelbart's Antiquarian here. There's nothing that threatens you right now. You just need to shift back just because of this Abomination being out of place. So he just repositions his character. A dodge comes down, however, by this Houndmaster of Adelbart, and this indeed means that another shift of momentum takes place. A Blackjack comes down as well. This Grave Robber is stunned indeed, and Adelbart does take a decisive lead turn 1. You have to see this opener going very well for Adelbart.
Absolutely, that jacked Blackjack powerfully putting down that rank 3 Grave Robber. Mangle Cadaver here, a very, very veteran player, but something a lot of people don't know is the only 2 people who can stun rank 3, apart from the Abomination with his Manacles rather, is the Houndmaster with that physical Blackjack from rank 2. Really quite an odd ability. You'd expect that only to hit the first 2, but again, really, really playing so usefully at Adelbart. Needs to really control this team more. He really wants to try and control that Flagellant as well, because if that Flagellant is not kept in check, Adelbart's backline will be going right down.
Quite crucially so, this move is resisted, by the way, so this Flagellant is not going anywhere. Obviously, there are some ways for Mangle to reset the layout of the characters in the fight, so he has the Grave Robber who can just move back and give some space for the Flagellant in row 1 and 2, so it would not have been like a desperate situation for Mangle by any means, but obviously some sort of control here. Granted that he also resists the Blight here by the Abomination, which means that he doesn't quite take that much damage on this turn right here. So you have to just wonder what exactly is going to happen for Mangle right here. Whether he just goes for more pressure, whether he just tries to get some control with the Crusader stun perhaps. It's kind of an open book here. He has a lot, so we have seen a lot of those of the blades, sacred blades being taken by the Crusaders despite being played on the stress compositions. What do you make of that?
I mean, it's such a unanimous trinket, right? It's everywhere where you see the Crusader. It's not only unanimous, it is ubiquitous. In what it does everything. No other trinket, I believe, has that perfect kind of itemization, apart from maybe the Rite of Execution.
Yeah, also on Crusader, right?
Yes. Seeing why the Crusader is so highly picked in this tournament. Very, very useful all-round character. Can do anything you want here. High bleed resist as well. Probably going to resist. Yeah, there we go. Yep. Resisting that Houndmaster.
Yeah, the Crusader has just the best trinket choice in the game. You have to feel like his other trinkets that we have in the game kind of okay as well. The standard, the shield, you know, they are decent. But honestly, like those two, the Rite of the Execution and the Blade, are ultimate trinkets, ultimate choices for you to just go. Like they're basically go-to items for every single matchup. Like I really don't really consider people using something else on the Crusader just because it just doesn't make sense. Right, those two provide such a high burst of stats, so much utility that you just don't want to be taking anything else.
Look at how low this Flagellant is though. Maybe a few more turns that Flagelant's going to go down. Mangle is going to use these per battle abilities so early on. Round 2 and that Flagellant's going to have to be healing or exsanguinating. Maybe Adelbart has pulled the trigger on the gun, pointing at his own head here, pushing that Flagellant down into exsanguinate range. It's so scary.
Yeah, but like if you do it once as a stress combo, it's not so easy to do it again, especially if he gets this 24 or even 36 crit heal, right? So we might just see this Flagellant comfortably shrug it off, you know, land a very heavy bleeding, because exsanguinate is an incredibly potent ability in terms of the damage. Obviously accuracy not the strongest suit there, but honestly the damage that it does will shred anybody, including the MAA.
Kill the Houndmaster. I think we can, one ability, one turn can probably kill the Houndmaster.
I'm actually surprised this flash powder goes onto the Crusader. I would definitely try to, just blind the Flagellant there. Because if you do this, you're successfully able to just remove the Flagellant's accuracy, you just force him to heal, which he really doesn't want to do.
I think maybe he's trying to force an early affliction on Mangle's Crusader here. Does have the chance to virtue because of that Sacred Blade, but if he does get afflicted, more often he's going to pass instead of stun. Things like that.
That's so he has not taken Zealous Accusation on this Crusader. It's such a big mistake by Mangle. He's playing a stress comp of sorts, right? He's not using the Accusation at all. So, and honestly, you don't really need to, probably didn't read into the compositions available to Adelbart, because you do not need the Bulwark of Light against what Adelbart has.
I mean, brutal, right? Even then, why would you Bulwark? I think against the stress comp, how much physical damage are you taking? Look
None.
At these DOT on you, right?
But why would you take it into the match? That's the real question, man.
Well, maybe Mangle didn't take enough time in these pre-games. I think he might be a bit tilted, He did kind of get rolled in that last game.
Absolutely,
even when he was thinking, Adelbart was making some silly decisions. So Mangle here isn't a character that likes to play too defensively. So he wouldn't have liked that from Adelbart here.
True, so...
Look at this time to burn down though, Mike. Look at that. Look at that. You love to see it, especially at this part of the tournament. Mangle's here really taking the time he needs to think. Really, really proud.
It was just so unfortunate, frankly. Kind of a sloppy decision making by Mangle overall, not taking that Zealous there. I'm so baffled by that. It's basically obvious that you're playing against Stress or DOT, so why would you ever remove the Zealous Accusation, take Aegis instead? Or this is Bulwark of Light, sorry, right? That's so unfortunate. For him to have that ability. Obviously this pool here might result in a stunned Antiquarian potentially, but still, this is so little damage the Mangle has been able to do compared to the amount of pressure he did indeed take here, right? He's under a lot of stress. He also had to take a lot of Blight and Bleed stacks. He is low HP on quite a few characters here, so you just have to feel like Adelbart has his number here, and Mangle just didn't do the right things at the right time. This strategic choice, this is why the deck system is such a nice tool to basically express your skill in the game. It just allows you to plan strategically ahead.
We keep harping on here about how Mangle's maybe even lost that game because of the Bulwark of Light, but I'm really not quite so sure. Mangle here playing ostensibly, I believe, a DOT stress hybrid, more heavily focused, more heavily weighted here on the DOT aspect rather than the stress aspect here, given an opportunity now again to drop that Exsanguinate out on the Houndmaster, going to... Wow.
Yeah, the question is on whom do you drop the Exsanguinate, right? You have two high dodge characters over there in the front, so maybe this is just...
25 dodge isn't that high when you've got the 15% accuracy Crown of Thorns. I think that heal was monstrously preemptive. Really a useless heal on the Grave Robber there. I wanted to use it.
But do you really want to put your life on the line? Because losing this Flagellant at this point might probably cost you a lot. Oh, this is super fortunate, by the way. This Antiquarian passes here, so Mangle might just take an opportunity to pounce right now. And he probably will just do so. He's just gonna go for a stun right here. He's gonna take this kill, I think. You just have to feel this is the moment in which you just take the kill.
There are these afflictions, though. We've seen him be flash powdered on it. No.
He pounces, he doesn't get it, though. And this means that right now Adelbart is in a lot of trouble. He can only guard this character right here. Oh, this is also another afflicted act out, so he can no longer guard this. So he's just trying to minimize the damage that comes through. And this means that right now this Flagellant once again acts out, stresses the Soundmaster even more. So right now we can see Mangle slowly but steadily perhaps taking over the game indeed.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen the Stygian Embrace here from the Occultist in a team that doesn't do a giant amount of stress outside of that Grave Robber, and we've not seen him use it. This is one of these uses per battle abilities, things you want to be leveraging or you're not getting the full value out of the characters.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if Mangle is making the right strategic plays in terms of not only that meta decision before with the Bulwark of Light, but also this more kind of meta decision in this game isn't of itself in terms of not using the Stygian Embraces, even just on the Grave Robber, to maybe try and push the Antiquarian to Afflicted right now. She's guarded though, so the problem is a bit late.
You have to feel like Adelbart once again kind of overreacted here. He tends to do this, right? He just plays this overly safe as well, where he just drops everything, like all the eggs he has in his basket on this Antiquarian, trying to just make sure she doesn't die too soon. Adelbart here goes for a Beast Buy. I would expect him to stun, honestly, considering his general playstyle, and especially that this Antiquarian is indeed under siege. But this Legend here just comes down to perhaps punish the Houndmaster. Is probably the optimal play here. You don't really want to be taking that many DOT stacks on this Flag, so perhaps just going for this punish is going to be a better call here. He does go for a lot more AoE DOTs though, and he is punished for this. He takes a lot of Blight and Bleed. So this is going to be a potentially dead Flagellant very, very soon. He cannot keep healing every single turn, right? This just doesn't work mathematically for the guy. So we might just see the Flagellant go down quite soon here.
I think this Flagellant has been underutilized. Look at how safe this Houndmaster is in the first row right now. If he'd thrown off to Exsanguinates on him instead, we'd be seeing an entire team from Adelbart here, all of whom are reasonably within that threat of dying, ticking down to the DT damage. Right now, even if all of Adelbart's characters die apart from the Houndmaster rather, Mangled Cadaver is at these levels of stress where he might get act outs, he might just die. Weirdly, to this Houndmaster clutch, if we do see it, but I don't really think we will. We've got this really tanky man-at-arms at the back here, able to buff up his own Bleed and Blight resist if he uses a guard there. So maybe that's the kind of thing he should have been doing earlier, especially against the Flagellant, this Reign of Sorrows in you, right?
Yeah. I feel Mangle has a decent sort of game sense and decision making here. I've actually seen him do this a lot. He always just pivots onto the MAA here, and he is stacking those dots. This doesn't look like a lot right now, but give this man like a 10 or 2 more, and this MAA is just going to be at 0 HP. So this decision here to just kind of pivot onto the MAA, you have to just command Mangle for doing so. Feels like a very, very smart decision to make overall. Obviously, he's taking so much stress damage here that this might not suffice, although his amount of control is quite decent, so he might just be able to scrape by. We shall see.
Absolutely.
Do you want to be healing this? Honestly, when you think about this, do you want to start healing this Flagellant with the Occultist? Because you might just want to kind of try to pivot as well in this sense. Like, you might not want to be healing this Flagellant with, using his own abilities right now. You might just wait for this debuff to healing that he takes for using Exang and Redeem to take away completely. Use this Occultist turn once.
The Occultist isn't doing much more, is he? Oh,
yeah,
so,
resist. Yeah, you can just
stand there, not breaking the guard, not letting him get a final swing and then throwing.
Really, so you can try. You can try to heal, right? Just buy yourself the single 10, allow the Flagellant to just go to town with those guys in the back here, because he can definitely just do a lot of pressure here in this matchup, right? So
you know what, Mike? I think this is where you take the Flagellant, you bite the bullet, but what you do is you follow that up with a Stygian Embrace here from the Occultist, because right now you are at the point where if you get double stress on the 50% stress times 2, so double stress effectively, on one Reign of Sorrows, the amount of stress that will deal probably is going to be pushing 2 of these characters into afflictions, and that really would have been really useful for him when he's now in a position where almost all of his team is afflicted and acting out.
Yeah, but so what a beautiful play by Mangle here, just pulling this Abomination, denying the 10 completely here. This is very good. Like, this is one of those Mangle things that you're scared of. Like, he just senses a single weakness that you have. He just pounces and denies you so much pressure. Missing a 10 at the end game stages of the fights is just the worst feeling ever. This is just such a beautiful outplay by Mangle. Also applying another stack of Hara here on this MAA, meaning that this will be a lot of damage coming through in the following turns. That's such a beautiful play. Just live to see those moments, man.
Exactly. Mangled here is taking the game as aggressively as you can with quite a slow deck. He's trying to control whilst also applying pressure and really denying Adelbart any ability to effectively counteract like he's just done now with that stun. This Occultist didn't have a giant amount to do, but right now it's pulling its weight. It's pulling its weight, right, Mike?
Do you do it again, though? Do you just pull the Antiquarian once more? Do you just wait for... Oh, no, we can't because she's guarded, right? She's guarded, so that's not gonna work. But it just did so much work for him overall, though. This is just such a heads-up play, right? And seeing Mangle just kind of getting some semblance of control is very good. However, he has to Holy Lance right now to get back into this one. So he might just Holy Lance the A-Bomb, force another defensive play that, you know, you really want to be forcing the stressed player to not apply stress to you, to try to defend themselves instead, and this is exactly what Mangle is doing right now. Obviously, there is a lot of pressure onto that backline as well, given that this Flagellant here has the Rain of Sorrows available, and this means that those guys are not going to be able to heal themselves anytime soon. The only thing you can hope for is this MA8 guarding, but right now the MA8 activates and goes to 0 HP most likely too.
Exactly, these DOTs Mangle has been able to pull out, especially on the Man-at-Arms, a character with reasonably high base protection. Really, it's a phrase we both love saying, paying dividends right now. Mangle has got 3 real targets to try and kill. The Antiquarian here on the back row, very defensive, but still you have more than one option to attack her with. You can Rain of Sorrows, go for a killing blow on all 3 of them, really. If he's guarded by the Man-at-Arms, then bingo, that Man-at-Arms going to tick down, get a guard kill on the Man-at-Arms, and even the Abomination in 1 turn, Mike. Fantastic setup.
Yeah, that's like, Mangle is such a good player. He marks the A-bomb as well, does a lot of damage in terms of stress just because of this Abomination being at death's door. Like, no, this Abomination being at death's door actually applies additional stress debuff, so you take 25%, I think, more stress from every single attack. So this is so big right now for Mangle. He's slowly and steadily taking over the game, though he was at a very serious disadvantage. Right now this MA8 also is going to drop to 0 HP, so just watch this happen right now, the MA8 dropping to 0. And there is so little control that Adelbart has. He can just hope for those afflicted actors, but this is basically all there is. I feel like we should also start playing like Mike and Sis Bingo, because we have a lot of those phrases we just overuse, right?
Gary had a great one for me. He said something like, you love to see when the tempo is leveraged so much that it pays dividends strategically.
Oh, that's so much. Oh, you would expect one of those guys to go down, though. This is not the case here. Like, you feel Mangle is missing this staple AoE character on this comp, like an Antiquarian or a Houndmaster. It's a pass from the A-bomb, though. This is an opening right now for Mangle to just absolutely take over this game, have complete and utter control in this one, if he's just able to land a single Rain of Sorrows right here, right now. So does he decide to do this or no? That's a real question for us.
All it takes is one. I think you have to try and take it. You've got enough characters healthy enough right now that you can try and get that, even if it's a sacrifice for pressure, a 1 for 2, you're still in fantastic stead. The Flagellant there, very high base death blow resist, 5% more than any other character in the game. He's more likely than anybody else to actually take that hit and come away smiling and laughing.
Right, but this Crusader stresses himself, drops to 0 as well, so he gets a heart attack, right, so he might be another victim on Adelbart's kill list here. However, you can see obviously that Mangle is, at this particular moment in time, definitely in control in this game. He has 3 characters at death's door on his opponent's side, and this Occultist potentially can go for a heal here just to take away the pressure from this Crusader. We don't want to lose this character so early on. This stun is going to just be absolutely huge. This
he passes, Mike. He passes.
So there's a pass for a pass.
Adelbart got in so much earlier than Mangle. Most of Mangle's team being afflicted so much sooner than Adelbart's. Adelbart right now, just with those 3 afflicted characters now, that Man-at-Arms very freshly off the presses. But really, Adelbart can still take these into a very long clutch stress game with these act outs, and they might just take it. This Crusader here, 1 act out in terms of someone going, hey, I don't like your bread, boom.
That's such a brilliant play. Man, oh no! And it's just kind of counteracted by the Flagellant himself. Like, Mangle, I feel like he just did this on purpose. He knew this was gonna happen. He knew this was gonna heal the Crusader. He did this because he knew this was going to work. Unfortunately for him, though, it does not work. It backfires completely. He really needs to save this Crusader for the future turns.
That's a big hit, but still, that health doesn't really matter at all when it's going to be put right back down to 0.
No, it's going to be 0 HP right now from this Antiquarian. I feel like she's just going to drop the Festering Vapors. This Crusader is going to drop to 0 HP again, and this is also going to... We're
going to see dominance, Nick. We're going to see dominance. These 3 in the back are going to go tick, 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 right down. The Flagella's going to chase him very soon.
Very likely to. Look at how long these games are, by the way. These guys, unlike the previous matches that we saw in the qualifiers, they're really taking their time. Those are 20-25 games easily. This is the darkest one level I'm used to. People just take every single opportunity to just think and strategize, and these guys are indeed doing so. And we can see those flashing daggers not really hitting the mark at all. They do hit the targets, but death blows do not come down. This is so important right now for Adelbart. Just stay alive for a single 10 longer. Every single decision right now is worth gold for him. Because this might be the tournament life on the line, guys. Obviously, you can still claw your way back if you lose a matchup like this right now in the group stage. But if you're able to win...
tiebreaker this early on, and again, in terms of... Like,
oh, there's a death blow! Oh god, man, very unfortunate.
That mech decision against take the bulwark of light on the Crusader. Instead of a more offensive ability, we're seeing the flashing daggers taken instead of a lunge that gives you 20% extra death blow, right?
Yeah.
That maybe we could just seal the deal here instead.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's so scary right now for Mangle. Because honestly, guys, losing this game means you are no longer guaranteed to advance. You want to win every single game you play, and this means that you're 100% going to advance to the semifinals and get the physical rewards, guys. Because the two people who make it out of the group here are indeed going to get the physical rewards automatically, right? They're gonna land in the semifinals.
There's that many rewards, Mike?
Yeah, we have four rewards, so all the semifinalists are going to get their rewards. It's enough to get out of the groups, and this is why there is so much pressure on those players right now.
This is remarkable, and Mangled is so much... I mean, this is a guy we think won't cave to pressure, but I think we have seen him cave to pressure a little bit. When I beat him in the Musukun tournament, he was slightly tilted after. He wasn't the happiest bunny. And I imagine losing this game right now will not put him in the best of mental positions going forward. Especially because Adelbart here has only actually got to play maybe half of his character turns due to the ridiculous amount of passes and dodges we saw early on in this match.
Right, so this is going to be a critical turn for both those players. I feel like this Reign of Sorrows might just decide the game as well. This is a singular death blow, not a double though. So this Antiquan dies as well actually from stress. It is a 3v2. Mangle takes over, guys. What an insane turn of events. So this domino effect actually just happens, but it doesn't happen for Mangle. It happens for Adelbart. And he's so close from losing this one completely and utterly. Obviously, this might still not be the end of it because this Crusader is, might not get the stun off.
I mean, Mike, one act out does it. One mixture of Bellow and Hound's Harry does it. This Hound's Master is very, very healthy. Mangle Cadaver is going to have to really rely on chain stunning, and Hound Master is not a character you really want to try and chain stun with 40% base stun resist.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, he doesn't go for the stun, he goes for healing. I'm not really sure, maybe the Sound Master will stun the 10 before, so that's why he didn't go for the stun right away, because he just knew this was going to be a dead occultist otherwise. But this is, again, very scary of a situation. You see a Guard Dog, though, Adelbart playing defensively where he really is in dire straits. I do not like this. He has to be, like, he's in absolutely a losing position right now.
You need to, Mike, don't you?
Once again?
You need to be aggressive now, Mike, don't you?
Yeah, no, there's like no other way. Like, you have to play forward. And if you don't, you just lose straight away. We see a dodge from the Houndmaster. This Guard Dog paying dividends right now. Okay, bingo again, guys. But this might be a stun also dodge, kind of likely. Yeah, it is. 45 dodge again. We see... I feel like this is the Houndmaster syndrome right now from the previous turn. It just, again, just counts to bite you on the ass. Mangle now feels the taste of his own poison from game one, and this Houndmaster, the dodge god right now, he's going to take over the lead here. Adelbart does have a slight momentum shift, and he might still be able to eke out a lead here and just take over one.
I mean, one of these Hounds Harrys with the correct domino falling from this heart attack, maybe an act out, will put the occultist down, and he's slowly ticking through incidental AoE stress, that flagellant down as well. And when that flagellant is pushed down to death's door, you've got to be worried, right? You've got to be worried because you only really have single target healing outside of that reclaim that he's already used a couple times.
By the way, this Skull lowers your devil resistance permanently, right? So if you actually use this and then fail to heal a character, it gets incredibly scary for you all of a sudden. Like, this is what Mangle is experiencing right now firsthand. Like, he has lowered the HP, like, sorry, the devil resistance using this healing from the occultist consistently throughout the fight. And right now, this might just be a dead character. This is an act out, though. You have to say Mangle has been kind of getting lucky here with those act-outs. He hasn't really acted out that much. Obviously, this healing hit proves to be quite detrimental, but right now, this is not that big of a deal, right? This is just... You have to feel like, again, a very decent swing in momentum here in favor of Mangle. That pass is
sort of a game, Mike. Back and forth, up and down here. Mangle Mart. Both of these guys, you'd love to see them together. they are both going to be, I mean, tilted after this game, right? They're going to be shaking on the edge of their seats.
Oh, they're shaky right now. I would be shaky if I were either of them, because I would have known, like, a single misplay right now, a single bad roll of dice as well might just decide my tournament phase.
I mean, more so than that, it will decide. Again, this game, if you lose this, you still have a chance to win it, but you're put into really unfortunate tiebreakers. And also, from these games being watched, people who are participating in the tournament have gained a lot of insight into how Adelbart plays and how Mangle Cadaver plays. So both of these guys, especially for Adelbart, if he does lose, we've seen he likes to heal. That is something that all of the opponents here might choose to target in and hone in on. Adelbart here needs to try and reconsider his gameplay, regardless of if he wins or not.
Oh, he hits that though. He gets that exsanguinate so big. So I feel like Mangle is indeed able to get a decent amount of lead into this one.
I mean, Mike, he gets that because of the dodge debuff that's been constantly applied by the occultist, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. If you're Mangle, you kind of stabilize right now. You have to feel like you're going to take this game if nothing really terrible, atrocious happened to you. And I feel like this occultist here is indeed kind of working. I'm surprised to see that, but this occultist with the skull, no less, is indeed doing work for him. And he's gonna get a stun here, potentially, unless this is another act out. So this might be a Holy Lance coming through. It is a death blow as well.
75%, 10% extra with the Rid of Execution there. Lucky coin flip for Mangle, but he does get it. And I think that just might settle this match, Mike.
Yeah, this is kill confirmed, and this is just a dead Adelbart here. You know, you might get as many heart attacks as you want. You're not gonna kill this flagellant anytime soon, I feel. And again, like, those guys are quite safe indeed, so I don't think any amount of stress is going to just take them down to 0, unless again an act out takes place and something really brutal happens. So then we see a healing here from the occultist, 22. Doesn't really matter how much you heal, just matters that he does heal for something. Obviously the skull hit does guarantee at least a single-digit HP heal. This Crusader stuns his teammates, but at the same time he does stun. He stresses his teammates, stuns the Handmaster of Adelbart, and this looks like a very decisive lead here for Mangle right now. This is just going to be a kill sooner or later.
Absolutely. I mean, Mangle Cadaver right now, the only thing he needs to be scared of is the Lord above and his almighty RNG wagon of pain and love. And unfortunately for Adelbart, does not seem we're going to get a pass. Maybe a pass here and an act out could put both of them, both the Crusader and the occultist. Hold on.
Oh, he stuns the corpse. Fortunate enough, like, he could have just done something else. That's just fine. That's just fine for him though. So he still has
that is just a pass.
Yeah. Okay. Still nothing.
40% death blow resist on this Houndmaster.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of getting into the scary territory again. This is again scary territory because this means that the. Okay, no, this is just a dead Houndmaster right now. This is not a dead Houndmaster though. Look at this. Because right now Hound Scary can kill
190.
No, it can't kill 2, can it? No, it's just gonna be okay. Probably Mangle loses the Crusader right now, but that's just all there is.
We say it can't kill 2, but we've seen an act out pass. Perhaps even one of them hits the other one, makes his flagellant go down. I mean, Mike, anything could happen. Boom!
Yeah. Boom. No, that's okay. That's still okay.
And something might happen, Mike. We don't quite know yet.
Right? No. It's Adelbart is out. He's dead. Why did he not go for the weakening curse though? I'm kind of surprised to see that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Mangle's a bit of a, it's a death blow. GG's to Mangle. He takes it. Slow and steady does it for the man, and we are indeed going to finish this series here with Mangle coming out victorious, guys. What an excellent series, guys. Absolutely magnificent stuff.
When are you coming in here, pal?
We have Silentia joining us. No, Silentia has to come for the second cast, right? So, guys, the way it's gonna work is there's gonna be Sis and Silentia casting the second match of the day. Then I will switch with Sis and go together with Silentia, and then again Sis comes in and switches with Silentia. We're just kind of gonna keep rotating so that every single one of us gets to rest a little bit, and this is not too exhausting and not too taxing.
There's only one more